Okay, hello. We are going to do, let me make sure my, okay, I don't know what happened. All right, I don't know what happened, but you disappeared there for a minute. I just wanted to make sure my microphone is working. I'm at home, late, I'm tired. This ought to be fun. All right, we're going to do 10.3. All right, let me get my pencil here. All right, 10.3. That was good. 10.3. Okay. Let me just remind you that this is a parabola, right? That's the main formula for a parabola. So you had been given things like, and then of course this could be f of x, right? So you might have been given f of x equals, let's say, -1 times x minus 3 squared plus 2. All right, now from that you start with the vertex. What is the vertex? The opposite of h, so +3, and whatever k is, 2. Then you pick 2 numbers to the left and 2 numbers to the right on the number line. And then you plug in. Y equals -1. Let's see, if x is 1, I get -1 times -2 squared, which is -1 times 4, which is -4 plus 2, which is -2. Okay, when x is 1, y is -2. And if this one is, so is this one. And then we do the other. Then we do the other. F of x equals, if x is 2, so it's -1 times 2 minus 3 plus 2. And I'm just writing f of x, but remember, it can be y, okay? So y equals -1 squared times -1 squared plus 2, which is -1 times 1 plus 2, which is -1 plus 2, which is 1. That's 1, that's 1. Now we have our point, so we can graph it. First of all, is it going up or down? Well, is A negative or positive? A is negative, so -1, so it's going down. Second of all, is it going to be wide, narrow, or just the way it is? A is 1, even though it's -1, it's still 1, so it's going to be normal shaped. And we start with the vertex. Oh, stop. Let me finish drawing my graph here. All right. Start with the vertex. 3, 2. And there's the point of the vertex. Now, my first regular point is 1, -2, 2, 1, 4, 1, and 5, -2. So there's my parabola. All right, well, tonight, what's different is you're going to be given something that looks like this. And it says to graph it. This is not in this form. But we can put it in that form by completing the square. So that's one choice that we have. Now, change this to y, and we do a modified version of completing the square, okay? Remember, in completing the square, we would move this over to the other side. We're not going to move it over. We're just going to move it to the right a little bit. You still take half of -4 squared. So that's -2 squared. That's 4. So I'm going to add 4. But on the same side of the equal sign, if I add 4, because 5's on the same side, I also subtract it. That's where it's modified. Y equals, now, this is going to factor, and this is just +1. This becomes x and x. Multiples of 4 that add up to 4 are 2 and 2. And to get a -4, they're both negative. So we can write this as x minus 2 squared plus 1. Now do you see how it looks like that? So my vertex is H, okay? And I can make my little thing. There's my vertex, 2 and 1. So I go 1 and 0, and I go 3 and 4. Now I plug in, and I can use this right here. Y equals, if x is 0, I get -2 squared plus 1, which is 4 plus 1, which is 5. And then if x was 1, 1 minus 2 squared, that's -1 squared. So that's 1 plus 1, so it's 2. Now I don't know if I have enough room here. I can make it work right here. I'll draw the graph right here. What is my vertex? 2, 1. Get a different color here so you can see it. Okay. 2, 1. There's my vertex. Look at it. A is +1, so it's going up. I have 0, 5, 1, 2, 3, 2, and 4, 5. So there's my parabola. Once we get it in this form, it's just how we normally do it. The fun part is trying to get it to this form. So what if I told you I have another way that's easier? You would say, well, Morris, why didn't you show me that first? Well, because the only way you're going to appreciate easy is if you have hard first. Okay? So, let's say this was the problem. And y'all know, to complete the square, you have to take half of b. Half of b is the number right there. The number right there is -1. So you take half of it. Now you're at -1/2. Squared is +1/4. You're dealing with fractions. Okay? So, I'm going to tell you that something. The opposite of b over 2a is the x-coordinate of the vertex. Or, if you think of it this way, it's the h. Okay? It's the h. I'm trying to move this. Well, I'm just going to put it over my face. All right? It's the h. So, if that's the case, then all I need to do, I can figure out this number by taking the opposite of b over 2a. Now, what do I mean by b and a and all that? Well, think quadratic formula. A, b, c. Okay? That's your a, that's your b, that's your c. So, what is the opposite of b over 2 times a? Well, b is -1 and a is +1. Still going to get a fraction. So I get 1 over 2. So, this is the x-coordinate. How do I find the y-coordinate? I'll plug it in. So looking at y equals x squared minus x minus 6, I plug in 1/2 I plug in 1/2. So I get 1/4 minus 1/2 minus 6/1. Right? The easiest way to do this is to find a common denominator, which in this case is 4. That one doesn't change. Go from 2 to 4, I multiplied by 2, so I multiply the top by 2. Go from 1 to 4, I multiplied by 4, so I multiply the top by 4. What do I get? On the bottom, I get that. 1 minus 2 is -1, minus 24 is -25. Oh my goodness, that's okay, because that's the only fractions we have to deal with. I want you to go one increment to get to a whole number, and that would be 0 and -1. Then you can do that, and one increment up to get a whole number would be 1 and 2. They're still the same distance apart, 1/2 to 0 or 1/2 to 1, and then the same distance apart this way, so it works. Okay, so now I need to plug in -1 to this. So I have, and I'll write it down here, y equals -1 and -1. So I get 1 plus 1 minus 6, which is -4. So if that's -4, that's -4. And then I plug in 0. Y equals 0 squared minus 0 minus 6 is 0 minus 0 minus 6, which is -6. All right, 25/4 is the same as 6 and 1/4. So -6 and 1/4. And we have to know this because we have to be able to graph it, okay? So let's do this. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, what do I got? Let me kind of move this up so I can see again. The vertex is 1/2, and then -6 and 1/4. So that's down about there. All right. Now, the points are -1, -4, 0, -6, -1, -4, 0, -6, 1, -6, and 2, -4. So there's my parabola. Using the opposite of B, number 2A. All right, let's try one more. Let's try one more using that formula. So what if I had f of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 2? Okay. I could complete the square, but I don't have to. This right here is the opposite of b over 2a. So put in your b and put in your a. And what do you get? You get 6 over 2, which is 3. Now, plug in 3 to solve for y. Wherever there's an x, plug in a 3. So you get 9 minus 18 plus 2. -9 plus 2, -7. 2 to the right, 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Right? Plug in a 1. Y equals, wherever there is an x, we put 1. So we get 1 minus 6 plus 2, which is 3 minus 6, which is -3. And then plug in the 2. Y equals 2 and 2. So that's 4 minus 12 plus 2. So that's 6 minus 12, so it's negative 6. Okay, so now we can graph it. All right. Vertex is at 3, negative 7. What's the matter, Kev?
You don't hear that loud bass?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know who's doing it.
So,
Okay, get up the street. Right?
watch your language. Yeah, I'm recording a class. Okay. So, did you find the kid?
Yeah.
Did you tell him please don't do that because it makes my mom crazy? Okay. Anyway, all right. Love you, bud. Bye-bye. Sorry, guys. All right. 1, negative 3, 2, negative 6, 4, negative 6, and 5, negative 3. And we have our problem. All right. One more thing for this section, and that is, remember I told you we've been doing up and down, but what else do we have? Side to side, okay? And that formula looks like this. We've been dealing with y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. This one is x equals a times y minus k squared plus h, where the vertex is still, and always will be, hk. So if I gave you x equals y minus 2 squared minus 3, it's in the form it needs to be. What is the vertex? H, K. I was going to write K. Now, instead of plugging, you have to solve for x. So we're not going to plug in, we're not going to put numbers on the x side. We're going to put numbers on the y side. So you have 1 and 0, and you have 3 and 4. So x equals, plug in a 0, 0 minus 2 squared minus 3, which is negative 2 squared minus 3, which is 4 minus 3, which is 1. Or plug in the 1. X equals 1 minus 2 squared minus 3, which is negative 1 squared minus 3, which is 1 minus 3, which is negative 2. All right, now let's see what this looks like. All we did was, you notice it's the opposite. What you might want to do is when you are taking quizzes and exams, I'll tell you right now, I always write down the formulas for my students so they can look at them and refer to them. And that is quite all right. You are more than welcome to do that. Okay? All right, what is my vertex? My vertex is negative 3, positive 2. Now, what is A? A is positive 1. So that means it's a parabola going this way. So if I did this right, all my points will be this side of the vertex. Well, I have 1, 0. I have negative 2, 1. I have negative 2, 3. And I have 1, 4. Look at that. Perfect parabola going that way. Okay? So it's just the same idea, but instead H is here and K is there. Okay, you have to flip it. All right. Let's look at another one. What if I was given x equals 2y squared plus 4y minus 3? That's not in this, oops. That, my brain isn't thinking. That's not in this form. But the opposite of B over 2A still reigns. Still can be done. We just have to remember that it's switched. So if we do the opposite of B over 2A, and that normally gets us this one when it's Y equals, now it's going to get us this one. Okay? So the opposite of B over 2 times A. The opposite, that's B, that's A. So negative 4 over 4 is negative 1. Now, if that's negative 1, we can solve. If Y is negative 1, wherever there's a Y, we're going to put negative 1. And we get 2 times 1 minus 4 minus 3. So 2 minus 4 minus 3 is negative 5. Now, not on this side, we're on the Y side now. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, 0, and 1. 0 is going to be the easiest number to plug in. Watch. 2 times 0 squared plus 4 times 0 minus 3 is just negative 3, because 0 is gone, 0 is gone. So I can do this one because I know that'll be that, right? So I'll choose the 1. X equals 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 minus 3. So that's 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 4 minus 3. So 6 minus 3 is 3. All right. Now we can graph it. All right, it's a parabola going either to the right or to the left. Let's get at the vertex at negative 5, negative 1. And look at the problem. What was A? A was positive 2. So if it's positive, it's going this way. So all our points need to be on that side or we've done something wrong. Well, we have 3, negative 3. We have, oops, sorry, that's not right. We have 3, negative 3. We have negative 3, negative 2. We have negative 3, 0. And we have 3, 1. There it is. And there we have our parabola going to the right. Okay, that is 10.3. Okay. All right, you guys. I am going to do 10.4 Tuesday morning. I don't think any of you is going to, and if you do get to all of this and are upset because I didn't do the 10.4 until Tuesday, I'm very sorry. But I'm tired, and I'm going to give it up for the night, and I'll do 10.4 first thing in the morning, okay? Good night.